Right, so we've got the camera looking down a straight shot here. And this is very important when you line up the shots because you always want to be starting from the same position and sighting the shot in a consistent way each time. So the thing that's really important here is which one of your eyes is your dominant one. So almost everybody, there's very, very rare exceptions, but almost everybody has got a dominant eye. And that dominant eye is important when you're standing up, lining the shot up here. It's not as important when you get down onto the table, so don't worry too much about whether you've got a dominant eye and messing with things when you're on the table, but it is important when you're standing up here like this. So, first of all, you need to work out which is your dominant eye. Now, you can do that by forming a little circle with your hands here, like that. Pick an object that's in the distance. So what I normally do is if I stand at one side of the table and put a ball on the cushion, and then leave that point in my view. So I'll stand staring at that ball that I've put on the cushion like that. Then if I use this circle with my hands, hold my hands right out in front of me and bring my hands up like this so that I can see that red ball through the little circle that I've made. And then if I close my left eye, I can still see that ball because I'm right eye dominant. And then if I close my right eye, when I've got my left eye open, I can't see that ball, it's moved. And that shows me that I'm right eye dominant. So I can see that ball with my right eye open, and that means that's the eye for me, which is my dominant one. Now the reason that's so important is because from a distance here, my right eye is the one that's going to show me this line as being nice and straight. So I'm standing up behind this shot, and the way I line up this shot is I want to be looking at the point that I need to strike on the red ball. So I'm looking at the red to make sure that I'm going to pot it, and that gives me this line here. So I'm standing behind the white, obviously, I can tell the white's there, but when I'm lining this shot up, I do it by looking at the red. Now, for me, that means I've leaned over slightly. So I've already got my right foot on line because I'm right eye dominant, and I've leaned over very slightly so that I can see this line as nice and straight. It's just that little lean has just put my right eye perfectly in line with this shot so that I'm sighting it correctly. So this is the point that I want to stand in before I even get down to play the shot. Now, if you're left eye dominant, you probably want this line more in the middle of your body like this. So you can see that now this line is going to come through and it's more in the middle of my body. Now, that's really important because for left eye dominant players, obviously, if you start with your right foot already on line, you see why my left eye now it's all the way over here. It's looking at this line. So I'd need to get right over here to put that left eye where it wants to be. So if you're left eye dominant, do it in the middle of your body. That'll probably give you the correct line. Your left eye is more where it needs to be. If you're right eye dominant, start with that right foot already on the line, and you'll probably just lean over slightly just so that you can see the line as nice and straight. So that's your starting position when you're lining up the shot. Very important that you try and get that right so that you've got that consistent approach into each shot. Now just remember that your dominant eye is more important from this standing position. Once you get down onto the table, don't worry too much where the cue ends up in relation to the two eyes. You'll see that when I'm down on a shot, it's just favouring my right eye slightly, but it's not right underneath my right eye. It's just a bit underneath my right eye, and that's the correct point for me. But when you're down on the table, most players, I would say, do that correctly anyway. They get the cue where it needs to be on the chin without even thinking about it. You just do it naturally. So don't worry about that. So just to recap, I'm looking at the red ball. Obviously, when I walk around to the table, I come and stand behind the white, but I'm looking at the red. Looking at the red, that gives me my line that I'm sighting correctly. And then I do my walk in, get down on that shot, and I can play the shot knowing that my cue was perfectly on the correct line. So, as I always say, I really hope you found this video useful. Remember that if anyone's interested in any personal one-to-one training sessions, I'm working on this table helping players to improve their game all the time. So if you look in the description, you'll find my website, my contact details. Feel free to get in touch and I'd love to help you with your game. As always, if you did enjoy the video, remember to give it a like. If you're new to the channel and you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing. That just really helps me to keep all this content coming. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.